All right, we're going to continue our two-step equation, solving them, but this time we're going to include the distributive property. So there's going to be one additional step that we will need to do before we can solve the equation. So let's get right into our examples. We would have 4 times x plus 5 equals 24. So before we can solve anything, we need to eliminate the parentheses. So the additional step here is to eliminate the parentheses by using the distributive property. And we know when we use the distributive property, we are multiplying. So I'm going to take the 4 and multiply by x, and the 4 and multiply by 5. Now remember, there's a 1 in front of this x, so 4 times 1x is 4x, plus 4 times 5, which is 20. Now that is going to bring us to our two-step equation. So now I have a positive 20, so I know I have to move the constant first. Put my line down. So I'm going to subtract 20 or add a negative 20 to both sides. I'm going to have 4x is equal to 24 plus negative 20 is 4. Divide both sides by 4. X is equal to 1. Example 2. Negative 5 times negative 2x minus 3 is equal to negative 45. Now I see a subtraction in here. Now these are negatives, so those don't change, okay? We have a negative 5 and a negative 2. I want to change that subtraction to adding its opposite. Keep, change, change. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rewrite negative 5. I'm going to keep negative 2x. My subtraction becomes addition, and my positive 3 becomes negative 3. All right, we are going to multiply. I like to draw those arrows so I don't forget that I'm multiplying whatever number's outside that parenthesis to everything inside the parenthesis. So negative 5 times negative 2 is a positive 10x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. And that's going to equal negative 45. Now, with my line, we're ready to go. So it's a positive 15. So I'm going to add a negative 15, its opposite, to both sides. 10x is equal to, now I'm adding two negatives, so my answer has to be a negative. Just like when you add two positives, your answer is positive. When I add two negatives, my answer is negative. Add the two together, and I would get negative 60. This is division. Divide by 10. Divide by 10. X equals negative 6. Okay, one last one. We're going to take 3 times negative x plus 6 equals negative 9. Now, we've talked about this before. If a variable does not have a coefficient, it's automatically understood to be the number 1. So I am going to put that 1 right in front of my variable. That way I know that that negative sign goes along with the number 1. And now I can go ahead and distribute. So 3 times negative 1 is going to be negative 3x. 3 times 6 is 18. And that's going to equal negative 9. I'm going to go ahead and balance my equation out. So I have a positive 18 I'm going to add a negative 18 to both sides. Bring down my negative 3x. Again, two negatives added together are going to give me a negative, and that's negative 27. Now, when you do your last step, which is your division, you must use the same number that's the coefficient. So you can't do this and say, oh, I'm going to divide by 3. No, because then you're going to end up with a negative x that's left over. You want to divide by whatever your coefficient is, so they cancel each other out. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. 27 divided by 3 is going to be 9. Positive 9.